Good afternoon, everybody. Since we're missing a day for fall break, I thought it might be a good idea to talk a little bit about augmented six chords, which we're going to talk about in class. These really aren't difficult, but it might be helpful for you to have a little videos that you can go back and rewatch and kind of see how I'm doing everything and how I'm constructing all of these different kinds of chords. So first of all, one of the things I said in a previous class when we were kind of just briefly talking about augmented six chords is that their function is to serve as a predominant chord. So that would be like 4 or 2. It's a chord that comes before the dominant. Now, remember that 164 is also part of that global 5, that global dominant. So it would not be at all unusual, in fact, it would be pretty common, to have an augmented 6 chord, then 164, and then to 5. So don't let that mess you up if you see something like that. But it is a predominant chord. Now there are a few steps that we're going to follow to build an augmented 6 chord. Just first of all, this plus 6, that's one way that we can write augmented 6. You might see that you might see AUG, different methods, different people, but it means the same thing, which is augmented 6. So here's the first thing that you do. First of all, you determine the key. What key are we going to be in? So one of my favorite keys to teach concepts in is C major. We don't have to worry about any sharps or flats. So that's the key that we're going to start in. And if needed, write out your scale degrees. Now, this will become obvious here in a moment why I'm doing this, but for now, we'll just reference this C major scale with the scale degrees here at the bottom. So, to build an augmented 6 chord, in major, we find the 6th scale degree. So here's the 6th scale degree, and lower it by 1/2 step. Now here's the important thing. We have to stay on the note name of the 6th scale degree. So the 6th scale degree in C is A. So if we lower it by 1/2 step, it would be A flat. We could not use G sharp. It would defeat the entire purpose of the augmented 6 chord. So it has to be A flat. Now, in a minor key, we just simply find the 6th scale degree because we think, okay, if this is C major, if it were C minor, the A would already be flat. So we wouldn't have to flatten it in minor. We only have to artificially lower it when we are in a major key. So that's the first step. We find scale degree 6. If it's a major key, we lower it 1/2 step. If it's a minor key, we just keep it right on the already lowered 6th scale degree. Then we add sharp 4. So we find the 4th scale degree, which in the key of C is F, and we raise it, we sharp that 4th scale degree, which would make it F sharp. So right now, when we're constructing our basic augmented 6 chord, we have an A flat and we have an F sharp. Now, this A flat is not really, we're not going to think of it as the root, but typically the A flat or the flat 6 is going to be in the bass. That's what you're going to see most often, is that A flat in the bass. So we'd have an A flat here and then an F sharp above that A flat. Okay, and that actually gives us the interval of an augmented 6, which is where the name augmented 6 chord comes from. Now there are 3 types of augmented 6 chords, and I really recommend that you spend some time with this sheet and also in your book so that you're really committing to memory these 3 types of augmented 6 chords because you will need to know them. The first one is an Italian 6. This is how it's abbreviated, IT plus 6, Italian 6. So the first thing we do is we go through the process as outlined above. So we find 6, we flatten it to A flat, we find 4, and we sharpen it. So A flat and F sharp. Those are the first 2 notes of an augmented 6 chord. Then we simply add the tonic pitch. So in this case, we'd be in the key of C. So we would add C. So our chord would be A flat, C, F sharp. So that would be the Italian 6. It's really the easiest one because in all 3 of these types, Italian, French, and German, we start with the process of finding flat 6 and sharp 4. So those 2 notes don't change regardless of the type of augmented 6 chord we're trying to build. So with the Italian, we do that process and we simply add tonic A flat, C, F sharp. For French, we go through the process as outlined above. So we find flat 6, which we said was A flat, sharp 4, F sharp. We add the tonic just like we did with the Italian, so it would be C. Right now we have A flat, F sharp, and C, and then we add scale degree 2, which would be D. So we would have A flat, F sharp, C, and D, and that would be called the French augmented sixth chord. It has a very unique sound due to both the augmented sixth interval from A flat to F sharp, but also the second here. We don't normally have chords unless they're seventh chords with these second relationships. So it's kind of a unique sound. The last type of augmented sixth chord is the German augmented sixth chord. Once again, we find flat 6, A flat, sharp 4, F sharp, add the tonic pitch just like we've done in the previous examples, and then we add flat 3. So, A flat, which is flat 6, F sharp, which is sharp 4, the tonic, which is C, and then we add flat 3, which would be E flat. So let's just look at that chord for a minute. We have A flat, we have C, we have E flat, and then we have F sharp. Now, if you played that chord on the piano, you would find that it really sounds like a dominant seventh chord. All we'd have to do is reinterpret this F sharp to be G flat, and we would have A flat, C, E flat, G flat, or F sharp. Okay. Now it's important to understand that basic concept that we can have a German augmented sixth chord that can also be reinterpreted as a dominant seventh chord. Later on, when we talk about using augmented sixth chords to modulate, it'll become more apparent why that's important. But just take a moment to wrap your mind around that we can be both an augmented sixth chord, in which case it would be German, or it can be a dominant seventh chord. Most often, when it is acting as a German augmented sixth chord, meaning it's going to 5 or it's going to 1-6-4, most often we're going to have that interval of the augmented sixth because that's the whole function of an augmented sixth chord. So those are the three kinds of augmented sixth chords that we can have. We have Italian, we have French, and German.